Assalamu alaikum dear students. Let us further move into the topic optics. In the last lecture we had seen the dispersion of light through a glass slab. Now today we are going to learn the dispersion of light through a prism. First and foremost thing, let us see what is prism. Prism is also a glass material, but it is designed in a different way. Here I have drawn the two-dimensional structure of the prism. Let's see how the prism is made. It is nothing but a glass material. Glass material bounded by three rectangular surfaces. As you can see, it is a rectangular surface. First rectangular surface, second rectangular surface. These are the three rectangular surfaces, and there are two triangular surfaces, first one and the second one. How it is joined? The two rectangular surfaces are joined like this, and the third one is the base of it. Third one is the base of it, and the remaining two rectangular surfaces are joined like this to make a triangle. So these three rectangular surface, base one, this one and this one. First one, second one is this one, and third one is this one. So the two rectangular, obviously three rectangular surfaces are there, and these three rectangular surfaces are acting as a refracting surface on which we will have to observe the process of refraction of light. So prism is nothing but a glass material, but it is bounded by three rectangular surfaces and two triangular surfaces. So at a time when a prism is placed like this as shown in the diagram, here the third rectangular surfaces which is at the base, it is not going to take part, this surface is not going to take part in the process of refraction. Only these two surfaces which are inclined to each other, these two surfaces are going to take part in the process of refraction of light. Now let us see various parts of a prism. The lower surface on which the entire prism is placed is called as base of a prism. Similarly, you can see this edge through which the two rectangular surfaces are joined. This is the edge of a prism through which the two rectangular surfaces are joined. This edge is called as refracting edge of a prism. And the two surfaces which are being joined by the refracting edge are called as, means this one and this one. These two rectangular surfaces are called as refracting surfaces. Similarly, these two refracting surfaces, they are inclined to each other through a certain angle. So angle between these two refracting surfaces means this one, or you can see this one. This angle is called as angle of prism, or it is also called as refracting angle. This angle is also called as refracting angle. So how many parts we have studied? Base of a prism, which is a rectangular surface which is not going to take part in the process of refraction. At a time only two surfaces are going to take part in the process of refraction. So you can place the prism on this surface also, you can place the prism on this surface also. So whenever you are placing the prism on this surface will become base, while these remaining two surfaces are said to be refracting surfaces. When you place your prism on this surface, then these two surfaces, this one and this one, are going to take part in the process of refraction. and this one will be called as base. So you can, it is up to your choice, you can take any surface as a base and any two surface as a refracting surface. Similarly, when we cut this prism vertical like this, when we cut the prism vertical to the refracting edge, what we are going to get, if the prism is made into is broken into large number of pieces and it is cut vertically on the refracting edge, what we are going to get? Obviously we will get such a large number of small triangles. We will get triangle only. When we cut the prism vertical to the refracting edge, we will get large number of this triangle. So one such triangle is called as principal section of a prism. This is called as principal section of a prism. So far we have studied various parts of the prism. Let us recall these parts because we will have to study it in a more detail. We will have to study each and everything over here as a part of a prism. So let us see, prism is a glass material bounded by three rectangular surfaces and two triangular surfaces. The two refracting surfaces are being formed by any of the two rectangular surfaces, and these two rectangular surfaces are joined together by a line called as refracting edge, and the angle between the two refracting surfaces is called as angle of prism, while the third surface forms the base of the prism. Similarly, when we cut a small section of a prism, when we cut the prism vertical to the refracting edge, we will get large number of, this prism will be broken into number of triangle. One such triangle is called as principal section. So it is not possible, every time it will not be possible for us to draw the entire prism in order to study the process of refraction or dispersion of light. So that is why we have introduced the concept of principal section. When we draw the principal section, it will be understood that it is the entire prism. These are the two refracting surface. This is the base. This is the angle of prism. The only thing that we cannot show on the principal section is the refracting edge, while rest of the thing can be easily shown on it. So hope you'll have understood the different part of the prism. Now let's see, nevertheless we'll have to study the process of dispersion of light. As you all are already familiar with the word dispersion, it is nothing but the separation of white light into its constituent color. We all know that white light that we are getting from sun is a combination of 7 visible color, and there are various rays over there, but visible rays are only 7, and these visible rays are of 7 different wavelengths. You might have heard about the word Vibgyor: violet, indigo, blue, green, yellow, orange and red. This is the visible part of the electromagnetic spectrum that we are getting from sun. So when we take a white light and when we pass it through a prism, here we have taken a principal section of a prism. See the principal section A, B and C. These are the 3 vertices of a prism over here. While here you'll have to understand that this surface AB, this is not a line, this is actually the entire surface. This AB and AC are now acting as 2 refracting surfaces of a prism, while the surface BC is forming the base of a prism, and this angle A is the angle of prism over here. So when we take a wide beam of light, here the refracting surface is AB, So let us consider one white light or white beam of light incident on the surface AB of a prism. For the sake of convenience, let us draw the normal on it to measure the angle of incidence. We all know that angle of incidence is nothing but the angle between incident ray and the normal. So, and for the sake of convenience, we have drawn the entire direction, original direction of the light ray. In the absence of a prism, the light ray would have gone straight. So we have drawn the original direction also. So this represents the original direction of a light beam. When we place a prism, this incident ray will suffer from various type of refraction, as it is consisting of 7 different color. 7 different color are due to 7 different wavelength of this light ray. Or out of this 7 color, the red color is having the maximum wavelength as well as maximum velocity, while the violet color is having the minimum wavelength and minimum velocity, while rest of the colors are having their wavelength and velocities in between violet and red. So the red color being it is highly speeded up over here at this point, so red color will suffer very less deviation from the original path. Here we have taken a red color, it will be deviated like this. Then after that we are going to get yellow color. All the color will be deviated, or they will travel a different path inside a denser medium, because they all are moving with a different velocities. So they all are moving along a different path, and at this particular surface AC of a prism, from the inside you will see that all the rays are incident on the surface AC of a prism. This is also another refracting surface. Now from this point, the rays are going to move outside the prism. The light rays are going to move from denser medium to rarer medium now. So whenever they are moving from denser to rarer, you will see that all the light rays are going to emerge like this, away from, all the light rays are moving away from the normal. So let us consider the first color, red color. It's having the maximum velocity, so it suffers from less deviation. So red. Then after that we are going to get orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, and last one is violet. So in this way, here when we take this dispersion pattern, when we observe this dispersion pattern inside a microscope, we will get a color band which are quite distinctly separated. So in order to have differentiable and distinct spectrum or distinct separation of a white light, we are using a prism. We can obtain the dispersion pattern from the glass slab as well, but the dispersion pattern will not be as much distinct as we obtain it from the prism. So in this way, the dispersion of light occurs. Here the two surfaces are involved in the process of dispersion of light, and in this way the light ray gets separated from the surface of the prism. So let us see what is the angle of deviation. We all know that this is the original direction of a light ray, but after coming out of the prism, the light ray is about to come in a different direction. So let us see by how much degree the light ray has turned itself. So red color, when you extend the red color, produce it in a backward direction. Let's produce it in a backward direction. You will come to know that by this much angle, the red color has been deviated from its original path. This was the original path, but the emerges, all these rays are going to called as emergent ray, because they are emerging out of the prism. So here we have taken one emergent red color ray, and this red color ray is making this much angle with the original direction. It shows that the original path was like this, while the emerged part of it is like this. So by this much angle, the red color has been deviated from its path. This angle is called as angle of deviation of red color. So it will be denoted as delta R. Similarly, if you want to measure the angle of deviation of violet color, produce a violet color in a backward direction. Let's produce it in a backward direction. This violet color ray is also making a certain angle with the incident direction. This angle will be called as delta V. This is the angle of deviation for violet color. And similarly, in the same way, you can measure the deviation angle for all the colors, for orange, yellow, green, blue and indigo. You will come to know that the violet color is having maximum deviation delta V. Angle of deviation will be maximum for violet color and angle of deviation will be minimum for red color. So this is how the dispersion pattern occurs. So let us analyze few things over here. Here the wavelength of this spectrum lies approximately, it lies in the range 4000 angstrom unit to 8000 angstrom unit. Angstrom unit is, we all know that 1 angstrom unit is 10 raised to minus 10 meter. This is a conversion factor between angstrom and meter. As you all know that 1 millimeter is equal to 10 raised to minus 3 of the meter. So in the same way, it is a very smaller unit of length. 1 angstrom is approximately equals to 10 raised to minus 10 of the meter. So wavelength of light, wavelength of this visible rays ranges from 4000 angstrom to 8000 angstrom. Means violet color will have the wavelength approximately 4000 while the red color will have the wavelength approximately 8000. So here we can write one data about the dispersion of light, that let lambda, this is a notation for the wavelength. So wavelength of red color will be maximum, then wavelength of rest of the color will lies in between, and then the last one we are having over here is, last color is violet color is going to have minimum wavelength, the lambda V. Similarly, as we can observe it from here, red color, we all know that we are having the formula of velocity V is equal to n lambda. Greater the wavelength, greater is the velocity of that color. So here we are having red color as a having a maximum wavelength. So velocity of red color will also be maximum. So we can write the same data about the red and violet color, that the velocity of red color will be maximum, then velocity of rest of the color lies in between, and lastly we are going to have the velocity of violet color. Then after that we can write the same thing about the angle of deviation. As you can see that angle of deviation of red color is having a very high speed, so it will suffer from minimum deviation. So we can say that red color is having a minimum deviation, while the violet color this time is having a maximum deviation delta V. Similarly, as we have studied, the formula of refractive index is also written in the form of velocity of light in air to the ratio of the velocity of light in air to the velocity of light in a denser medium. So refractive index is inversely proportional to the velocity in a denser medium. So the color which is having the highest velocity in the denser medium will have a smaller value of refractive index. So with this information we can write the reverse equation for the refractive index. We can write the refractive index for violet color will be maximum. Refractive index of rest of the color lies in between, and the last one we are having the refractive index of red color. So this is how the process of dispersion occurs in case of prism. In the next lecture, we will study the prism formula. That will be a very